He didn't see it coming. One moment, the 84-year-old stood quietly by the jukebox, his hand trembling as he reached for a quarter. The next, he was flat on the floor, shoved hard, his cane skidding across the bar tiles. "You're in the way, old man." The biker growled, standing over him with a cruel grin and the stench of stale beer hanging off his breath. The bar fell into a stunned silence. No one moved. No one helped. The veteran slowly sat up, face etched with pain, but said nothing. His hands, leathery and worn, reached for the cane like it was a piece of his soul. His eyes, faded blue like sun-bleached denim, held no fear. Only silence. His name was Thomas Granger. And though the town barely remembered, once, the world knew his name. Thomas had served 3 tours in Vietnam. Not behind a desk, not in the shadows, on the front lines. He led a Black Hawk unit that pulled wounded soldiers from fire zones no one else dared enter. One of those missions had cost him a third of his platoon and his hearing in one ear. He carried those names with him like medals carved on his heart. After the war, he never asked for recognition. He just lived, humble, quiet. His wife passed 5 winters ago. Cancer. His son hadn't spoken to him since the funeral. But every Friday, Thomas still put on the same clean khakis and headed to Sullivan's bar for one reason only: to play a song his wife loved that he'd play at once. Sit at the corner table, sip his Coke, and leave without a word. Always alone. Always early. Always with grace. But not today. Today, a man less than half his age had shoved him, laughed in his face. And the town said nothing. The biker turned back to his group, clinking bottles in triumph. Old guys need to learn their place. He sneered. Thomas didn't respond. He stood, dusted off his coat, and sat back down in his usual corner seat. He didn't even glance at the man again. But across the bar, behind the counter, young Jordan, the bartender, had already sent a text. Not to the police, a contact saved under the name. Ghost Talk lead. 28 minutes later, the ground began to shake. At first, they thought it was an earthquake. But outside the bar, in the middle of the small town parking lot, a Black Hawk helicopter descended like a hawk returning to its nest. People screamed. Bottles clattered. Phones flew up to record. 6 men in uniform stepped out. Not cops. Not guards. Brothers. Old and young. Their chests bore the same patch Thomas once wore on his jacket sleeve. Black Hawk Rescue Squadron. Unit 7. They entered the bar without a word. The biker froze mid-sip, eyes wide. The one in front, Lieutenant James Porter, spoke softly, but every syllable struck like steel. "You put your hands on one of ours." The biker tried to laugh. "This some kind of joke?" James didn't blink. "He saved my life when I was 22. Carried me on his back while bullets tore through the jungle. Lost half his team that day. And you think you can shove him like he's nothing?" No one in the bar breathed. Thomas remained seated. He hadn't moved, didn't need to. His silence spoke louder than any roar. The biker looked around. No allies now. No smirks. Even his friends stepped back. James walked over, saluted Thomas with a crisp hand to his brow. "We still follow your orders, sir." Then, one by one, each soldier turned to the veteran and saluted. The room erupted. Not in noise. In silence. The kind that chokes throats and fills eyes with tears. Customers stood. Hats came off. Some dropped to their knees. Jordan, the bartender, whispered, "We're sorry, sir." Thomas stood slowly. He nodded once. Then, without a word, he walked out the door, the 6 soldiers forming a silent procession behind him. Before boarding, he turned just once, to no one in particular, and said the only words he needed to. "Real strength doesn't shove. It lifts." The rotor blades roared to life. But in every heart watching, it was his quiet dignity that echoed louder than any engine. There are men and women among us who carry the weight of freedom in their silence, who've seen things we cannot imagine, and ask for nothing in return. But respect isn't a gift, it's a duty. And sometimes, it lands with the power of a Black Hawk. If you believe in honoring silent heroes, comment where you're watching from. Share this story. And subscribe for more true stories that remind the world what real honor looks like. Real strength doesn't shove. It lifts. We still follow your orders, sir. He saved my life while bullets tore through the jungle.